So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted that we have back with us Clive Berry and Neil Auty, who are partners at Slaiyburn Financial Planning. So, Clive, Neil, thank you so much for coming back. Obviously, Neil, Clive's coming back. You're new to this, not to the business, but to this podcast. But thank you both for spending the time this morning. And if you'd be kind enough, firstly, to introduce yourselves, Slaiyburn Financial Planning, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Okay, I'm Managing Director of Slaiyburn Financial Planning. Been around now for 8 years. In May, we'll have been going. Brought this gentleman in. I've known him for 10 years. He came into the company a few years ago. He's a shareholder now and Director of New Business and Business Development. We have developed the business since our last podcast over the last 18 months. And it's been very exciting and interesting to see the people that we've brought in develop along the way.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we had a bit of a chat a couple of days ago. It's great just to have that catch up ahead of this interview about what you're doing and how you're developing an amazing team. Just for anyone watching, in terms of what are some of the things that you do for people, the sort of benefits you give, and what makes a great client for you? What would be a great client in general, just in case one's watching?
What we do for people, we would start with what we do for the staff and the advisors. We found it very difficult to find the right type of people that think like we do.
Yep.
When the client is first and central to everything that we do. But we've managed to pull a team together that do think like we do.
Brilliant.
And like I said, we've expanded over the last 18 months by buying the client bank of 2 firms, and we've integrated those into the business, which has been quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But we're getting there, and we're helping the advisors to develop rather than what I would class as being a post office. We are helping them to develop.
Brilliant.
as well as developing Slaiyburn.
Wonderful. And what would make a great client for you? If you think about the people that you serve best, what sort of person or business would that be like?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do is we try to be financial advisors for everybody.
Great.
Now that cuts across the grain in many ways, because people like to focus on different things and say, look, our client is this and our client is that. One of the big innovations that's coming on stream, and we're a test company for this, although we are independent financial advisors and we want to retain our independence, AJ Bell, who we work with as well, they've got a product coming online very shortly, which will be on our website for people who want to targeting support for investments. They can go onto our website, and whilst it's not independent, they can pay £25 into a savings plan, which makes it affordable for them because they're not paying for advice.
Yep.
To get to a certain level, we'll be able to offer them the concept of having advice should they need it, and that's something that is innovative and in line with the FCA thinking at this moment in time of where the business is going. That's just one example of us being involved in developing something for a major financial institution, or having a hand in that, and bringing it on board with our advisors. The other one is our back office system as well. We're trying to integrate many systems into that, and that's come along with the acquisition of these particular companies and client banks. They brought their own problems. We've seen how other companies work. Some are working better than others, and we've had to bring things up to a standard which is acceptable for us.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And as you say, that sort of growth and that development of people, that any form of growth typically comes with challenges. What are some of the key challenges you've had to overcome over this last 18 months or so?
People.
It is, yeah, as Clive said, it's dealing with different people.
Yeah.
The advisors all come from different backgrounds, doing things different ways.
Yes.
So to get them to do things the Slaiyburn way has been a challenge because we've had to put together what the Slaiyburn way is
Brilliant.
and make it a little bit more easier to follow, so that everybody's on the same page. Because it's one of those things in financial services that everybody has their own ideas as to
Yes.
what good looks like,
Yep.
and we now getting to the point where we're working with the advisors to build that what
Brilliant.
good looks like for Slaiyburn.
Getting the right people, as Neil said earlier, absolutely crucial. We've
Yeah.
rejected some good people because we felt they wouldn't fit in,
Yeah.
or they weren't the right kind of people. And the thing that we've got now, we've got one young advisor, Jake, who's doing later life and long-term care, and a member of the institution Solace, which is basically for long-term care. We've got equity release advisors. We've got the full range of mortgages. We've got the full range of investments,
Brilliant.
pensions, and things like that. So between the company now, we can cover just about everybody from the cradle to the grave. You know what I mean? So,
Brilliant.
which is a good feather in our cap, and being affiliated to all these different organisations, it adds to our credibility as well. One thing that did do us a lot of credibility and push our credibility sky high, we feel, is what one of our advisors, Claire, did. And through her social media, she got on Martin Lewis' show.
Oh yeah.
Tell her that was, and she came across very well on that and has done very well out of it, which is great. And so that was a big plus for a little company in the north of England like Slaiyburn. Mixing with the big boys was very good. And following that, she got invited onto other forums and things like that, which has taken it to another level. So personally for Claire, it's been very good, but also on the back of Claire, it's been good for the company.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. I think it's really key, the whole idea of um, building a great team of people that I've always said for a long time that good relationships come with a match of goals. We both want to achieve the same thing. But great relationships come with a match of values. We both believe the same things are important, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and when you get a group of people that believe the same things are important, then they actively want to work our way. They want to work the Slaybin way. They don't want to do the way they think it should be done. And that allows us to build amazing teams that support each other.
Well, the thing about it as well is that what we allow all the staff here, administration staff and advisors, because the administration staff in many ways are more important to keeping the advisors on track and things
Yep.
like that. What we've found with our monthly meetings and then get together is that people are prepared to take ownerships of problems which arise in the company.
Brilliant.
So they are actually taking on things like social media, things like the design of fact finding, where we operate and where we do things, and pulling together. And that's them taking ownership of particular problems is the main thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And going back to your point about a relatively small company in the north of England doing great things, getting on TV. It's exactly why we do this, because I believe for a long time, and through the interviews we do, there's some amazing companies in the north doing amazing things. We don't have to go down south. We don't have to go overseas. We're doing it right here, and competing with much larger organisations to do so. And often, our size allows us to be more flexible, more user oriented, customer oriented, customer friendly, as Neil said earlier. So totally agree. And obviously, I mean, you talked about quite a few amazing things you've achieved over this last 18 months. What would be the key highlights for you guys of some of the things that you have achieved?
I would say embedding everything together and pulling it all together,
Yes,
matching the right administration team with the advisors, working with the advisors. Um, they don't have a self-employed mentality.
yeah, great,
They're helping each other. They don't just ask us for help. They will ring each other, and
brilliant,
we encourage that massively. And
brilliant,
it's very much an open door policy that we have,
brilliant.
that we don't hide behind anything. Everybody feels, and we want them to feel comfortable
Yeah,
with what they're doing. And they've got the same attitude that we have, that the client matters first, second, and third. But also, Clive mentioned it earlier, we don't have a limit on what people have to have independent financial advice.
right. Yeah,
That's a misconception in the marketplace. Some IFAs do
yeah,
act like that. We don't, and
brilliant,
it's how getting people to understand that they can afford to deal with us.
brilliant.
Yeah, you come across a lot of large companies won't touch somebody unless they've got £100,000 or they're going to earn £1,000 out of them. We don't adopt that approach. This comes from me, I think, in some respects, in that when you first start out and you're a self-employed advisor, you're looking for clients. You're not looking for funds under management. You're looking for clients.
Yes,
The more clients you get, it will happen.
yeah,
You look after a client who's saving £50 a month, and all of a sudden, 3 years later, he's got 200 grand under management. Not saving £50 a month, but he'll have moved things around.
yeah,
He may have had an inheritance. He may have sold a property, downsized. He may have done something, and all of a sudden, things happen. And he might introduce his mate who's got 500 grand to invest. You know what I mean? So it's the networking, it's the hard graft, it's the telephoning, it's doing the hard yards, and that pays off in the end.
yeah,
And that's the ethic that we try to instill, isn't it,
Yeah.
into these people, and we've been successful in doing that.
brilliant. It sounds like it's the long game of serving people well.
Yeah.
Is the successful game, rather than just looking for the quick wins of where can I find the money straight away, and it's something we work a lot with clients on, of that. We call it the law of precession, that most money is made by not hunting money, but by serving people well.
Exactly.
It is.
It's clients we want, not
My first boss, when I left school, said, if you look after your clients, they look after you.
Bang on.
And it works.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And I'm often interested. I find entrepreneurial people that they're not particularly great at celebrating wins. Obviously, you've got some amazing wins. How good are you guys at celebrating the things you've achieved?
Very good at celebrating.
Brilliant.
What's happened since our last meeting is that we have moved offices. Right. From our little box that I had last time we did this, we're now outside. I can see 6, 7 people at desks working away in a new office that we have. We're in one of our little function rooms here, meeting rooms here. We've got entrances and foyers and all that kind of some reception areas now. So we have moved into a different area. We got the mayor of Kirklees to come and open that office. And following on from that, we were both invited to a civic reception on Monday. Which is a fantastic networking event when the mayor's there and inviting you to all this sort of thing. And then we've had, as I said, Claire, things. We're in a nice place. We're happy, and we entertain the staff at a rugby game. Once a year,
and partners.
Brilliant. Partners are important. Partners are very important. And and then we have a big Christmas do as well. So we're not shy on celebrating.
Brilliant. Good to hear.
And I think what we do as well, the individual successes of, say for example, Claire, who was on the program. We bought her a T-shirt which says Claire Beswick has seen on TV.
Ah, lovely. Brilliant.
So we're taking the Mickey a little bit. It's
Brilliant.
all tongue in cheek, and that's the way it is. And then what now and again, not every month, when we have our meetings, we reward somebody for doing something special.
Brilliant.
So we'll have Richard Baxter got the monthly award for the Superstar of the Month, and he gets a certificate, and it's for doing things which benefit the organisation. So he went on a trip for a day out of his thing to do something, and we went down to London to support Claire at a meeting and things like that. And he earns nothing out of that, but he supports the company, and he gets that gratification. The fact he's got a certificate to say it's been appreciated. So we're not just asking him to do it for nothing. Well, he does it for nothing, but it is acknowledged then. The whole group, including we include everybody in our group. We include, we'd include the cleaner if we had one. But everybody works away to part to make this company better. So the thing is, they get recognised for doing that, and we've issued a few of them out.
We have, and we actually got the mayor to present the Employee of the Year award.
Love it.
So that went down very well.
That went to 2 people, didn't it?
Yeah. So an Advisor of the Year and Employee of the Year.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I think it's I think it was Ken Blanchard talks about in leadership and management. He talks about the principle of catching people doing things right. Poor management is catching people doing these wrong. That's but catch people doing these right and say, brilliant, thank you, you did a great job there. Makes such a difference. And as you said, the respect and the plaudits from our peers is such a strong driver for many of us.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be monetary. It's not monetary. It's a piece of crappy paper with a little thing, and it says Superstar a month. That in itself is a big take, but they love it.
It means our own crayons as well.
Yeah, okay. So you've done it a disservice there, I'm sure. But it's interesting that there is a great, the phrase, the thought that counts is really true, if you know what I mean. It's the fact that you've taken the time to think about that rather than go, well, they're paid enough, that's their job sort of thing. It's the thought that counts. Even if you did use crowds, which I'm sure you didn't.
At the end of the day, we see that our job is building relationships. And it's with clients, with staff. It's all about the relationship at the end of the day.
It's a really good point, Neil. I often talk to businesses, and it's a natural thing to have a client marketing and retention budget, i.e. it's natural to want to find new great clients and make sure there's a match, and to keep great clients with great service and great relationships with clients. But not only some businesses do the same things with their team, and yet a team is in effect over time more important than our clients, because a team are probably more permanent than our clients, if that makes sense. So having a budget of it can be money, but it is time too. The time to attract great people, as you described, but then keep them by doing things like you're describing, recognizing people, rewarding people, is so important to building a great team. Because if we don't have it, it's a bit like having a leaky bucket. We're bringing great people in, but they're dropping out the bottom every 5 minutes. It's pointless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I've seen over the years so many firms that don't do anything for especially their advisors. They're taken for granted, and we do a lot of work with them, so that if they left here, they're going to leave a lot behind.
Yeah, brilliant. Loved it. Loved to hear everything you're saying, and Whether it's from your wins or your challenges, what are some of the key things you've learned over the last 18 months about growing a business?
Don't go too fast.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we have come a cropper in, not come a cropper, but we have experienced some difficulties in doing that. And from a compliance point of view and everything point of view, we're playing catch up all the time. You can do if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Not to overstretch.
Yeah, and not to assume. We assumed that a lot more information, for example, would be to hand with one of the businesses that we bought.
Right.
But you realise that not everybody does things your way.
Yep. Yes.
So we were behind the eight ball to start with, and it took a lot more work and a lot more time than we anticipated.
Yeah.
It helped us with the second business.
Yeah.
But still, like Clive said, you've got to go at the right pace.
Yeah.
And well, fortunately and unfortunately, the second business came along a little bit quicker than we anticipated. We weren't ready, but we worked very quickly, and one of the staff that we took on couldn't cope.
Right.
The pace of things was that high.
The thing is, I think we planned for this. You know, we had advisors with very little clients, so we knew if we bought this thing, we would have advisors who could take up the slack on these clients that we had. That was mirrored by the support staff as well. We were lucky enough to come across a couple that we thought were great. One of them couldn't go up and left. Left. She wasn't sacked. She resigned because she didn't feel as if she was coping very well, and she had a few other issues as well. But but you know, getting the balance right. If you're going to jump a step, you've got to have a banister there that supports you. You know? And because if you jump us too many steps without a banister, then you can come crashing down. And so the banister's been the staff, and unfortunately, they've worked very hard and put some hard miles in to make sure that we're where we are now.
Brilliant. Great analogy. And I was going to come on to quotes and sayings. I love collecting quotes. Is there any quotes or sayings about business or success that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
That's a good one.
It is a good question.
Gonna walk before you can run.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the old cliches are cliches for a reason, aren't they? You know,
absolutely.
They do seem to fit. You can. I find myself using them with.
Yeah, I do as well.
It's
conscious. Yeah.
Don't do anything, or don't expect other people to do things that you wouldn't do yourself.
Yeah, brilliant.
Old sayings, but
as you said,
you know, we wouldn't expect anybody to do things that we wouldn't be prepared to do.
Perfect.
With moving boxes, whether that's, you know, bringing desks into the office.
Everybody makes a cup of tea.
Brilliant, like it.
Including me, yeah. And actually, the last job on a Friday afternoon is for me to go around and empty old bins. So there you go, you know. Nobody's above the nobody's got a chip on the shoulder. Everybody mucks in, you know. If you see it to be done, it'll be done, and that's
Love
it.
it.
You know?
Love it. And what would you say you've learned about yourselves throughout your journey so far?
I learned I hate him.
I don't think so.
No,
I think that you've got to be flexible.
Yes.
You've got to understand things from other people's perspectives as well. You can't just expect everybody to think like you, but you can't assume things. You've got to go with the flow. You've got to
Yeah.
explain things and make sure people understand where you're coming from, because at the end of the day, you might have said something that you understand the meaning of it, but the person you're talking to gets a different meaning. So perception is reality. So
Yep.
if that's what they think you've said, it is what you've said.
100%. Look, I couldn't agree more. That the phrase I love, which is very much supports that, Neil, is that the truth comes out of the other person's mouth,
Yeah.
not mine. If I tell you something's true, it's my truth. If you tell me it's true, then it's your truth. And you know, it's listening for people's truths, isn't it? And not trying to tell them what is the truth, if we think about it. Brilliant.
Going back to the original question, from my point of view, everybody thinks they're perfect, don't they? I think I'm perfect, but I have got faults. And I've had to recognise that, recognise the faults in me, you know what I mean? And
Brilliant.
that's it,
I'm sure that's not the case.
It's not faults at all. It's just, we all do things differently.
Absolutely, that's the key thing, isn't it? We all think differently. It was funny because I realised alongside when I started coaching, we did a lot of work. I do a lot of work with behavioural profiling and understanding, as you've said, Neil. People think differently and do differently, and it was sort of an obvious thing, but it took to do that to realise that other people think differently to me, because I had thought up until that point, everyone thinks like me, and that's why I can't understand why they don't understand me. But I always say it would be a pretty crazy, messed up world if everyone did think like me. But then that's another story. So looking forward, guys, what does the future look like for you guys? I mean, you the last 18 months, and you've achieved so many things. What is ahead of you, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
Well, there's always challenges, always challenges. AI, we've been working with an IT guy who's going to help us with doing file checks and reviews and things like that. Technology is moving so fast.
Yes.
We're trying to keep abreast of all that kind of stuff as well. Social media angles and things like that is always there. Regulations, new things coming, adopting new principles and stuff like that. They change every 10 minutes. For me, we're always looking at, because neither of us are spring chickens, so we're looking at exit strategies at possible some point in the future, and how that would look. And so there's lots of things on the horizon. There might be new advisors coming. We're not looking for it. Well, we are at the moment, aren't we? But for one, but we're not like we were before, going out aggressively looking for things. We're finding that some people are looking to come to us, which is nice. And the people who we use, the external people like the file checkers and the compliance officers that we use externally, are referring people to us who are dissatisfied where they are, which is obviously makes us feel good that somebody's referring. Any kind of referral is a good referral, isn't it? You know what I mean? So whether it be for staff or whether it be for a client. So there's plenty things on the horizon which are challenges and things like that. More, to be honest with you, when I'm talking to Jake and Daniel and some of the younger lads that we have here and younger people, I feel like a bit of a dinosaur. But they're happy, as we've said before, to be able to say, right, okay, no problem, Clive, I'll deal with this. You just check it when I've done it. You know what I mean? And that's.
It's right. We're happy that they're happy, and
Great.
That's that says everything at the end of the day from a business point of view.
Yeah.
If the staff, and we've spoken to one of the members of the staff this morning, she's happy. We're constantly talking to the staff and the advisors to make sure that things aren't just being hidden. That they want to. If there is anything, they tell us, and they do, and nothing becomes a big issue then.
Yeah, brilliant. I, I mean, what I've heard you talk about a lot, and I think it's bang on, is create a great team with a great culture, and that's serving great clients, and you've got the magic, the secret formula, and the evidence of that is also when you start to attract great people into your business. It's we don't necessarily have to go and look for them; they will turn up, and that's great to hear.
I think the one word that you mentioned there, which is absolutely vitally important, is the culture.
Yeah,
The culture is everywhere. I don't have an office. My desk is right in the middle of the room, and that's
brilliant.
it. And
I don't even have a desk.
you didn't have a desk.
Brilliant.
Well, that's it, and yeah.
Wonderful. Well,
All inclusive.
guys, thank you so much for spending a bit of time this morning, and learned a lot about what it takes to create a great business, create a great team, create a great culture, and I'm sure you will be going from strength to strength, and wish you really well for the future, and hopefully we can swing by again another perhaps less than 18 months and catch up and see how things are going. But for now, is anyone that's watching that would like to get in touch with you or your company, what would be the best way of doing that?
We have our website, slaiyburn.co.uk.
Brilliant.
We're on social media.
Platforms.
We're
Telephone number 01484 971212. Ask for me.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, as I said, thank you so much. It's been really inspiring to hear how you've developed and grown, and I wish you best. Wish you best for the next stage of growing the business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.